Done. Yeah.
Alrighty. Let's go. Hey guys, it's Josh, and welcome back to the Not So Bad Bachelor Pad, your favorite podcast for learning how to balance between being a raging dumpster fire and a functioning adult. I know it gets everybody every time, and I love it. So today we have on just a wonderful spirit, just an amazing person, because I have to tell you this story really quick. This is our second attempt at trying to record for you guys, just because I don't know. I guess the universe is still in retrograde because everything that can go wrong has gone wrong, but we're here now, and that's all that matters.
Amen.
So, Krystal, before we get into today's episode, I'd just like you to just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm a writer, teacher, podcaster, grandmother, wife, daughter. I love helping people realize that life can be so much better than it is right now by owning their own experience and understanding themselves, their emotions, and what has brought them to this point and why they react to life the way they do. So, radical self-awareness and fantastic ownership in where we're at and where we're going. That's my super short intro.
Listen, sweet and to the point. Also, there were a couple surprising things in there. Did I hear the title of grandmother? Did that go out there? Wow.
Yeah.
I would. It's so crazy. I guess the older you get, like the farther away that really seems. And I was like, there's no way you can be a grandma. I was like, wait, but no, congratulations.
Thank you.
That's
I'm a typical grandma, very proud of my kids, where they're at, and those little grandbabies that you get to spoil and then send them home. So
100%. I feel like that's like the best job. Like I can't wait to get there. Like there are certain parts of the parenting stage I can wait to skip, but I definitely want to be there for the grandparent stage.
Yeah, I hear you.
Oh man, well that's great. No, but another reason I just love you as a person is accountability is really big for me. In everything I do, because I feel like it's the easiest way for us to make excuses for ourselves on why we aren't where we want to be or why we don't do what we want to do.
Yeah.
So it's so easy to craft a narrative. So the fact that you really like, hey, maybe we should look in the mirror is just refreshing to me.
Yeah, it's huge. I was born and raised in a very religious household that religion defined every decision that we made, and I followed the rules and I did what I was supposed to do because that's what I was raised to believe. And I got married young and I had kids young because I was supposed to want to be a mother and a wife and all of that stuff. And when I finally realized that that marriage was very, very unhealthy and that path was not good, I also had to recognize and understand that I had chosen into that. On the one hand, I could say, well, they taught me that. And because they taught me that, this is what I did. And this is where I went. So it's your fault that I'm here. And yet I recognize that the only way to get through that and be able to hold my head high with my kids and not speak ill about their dad was to understand that I had chosen into this. I had made some choices that had really defined the direction I was going in, and that I needed to take responsibility for that. And if my kids saw me taking that responsibility, I would blame their dad less. I would be more available for my kids to help process what was happening and what was going on. And then I would be healthier moving into my next relationship. And it all stems from saying, no. I made this choice. Yes, that was my programming. Yes, other people taught me that. And yet I still had the choice to say, is this where I'm at? Is this where I'm going? And is this how I'm going to react to the different situations? So from there, just life completely changed.
I mean, so this is a new thing I've started to do since I've been working with the show and a lot of the clients I have. Yeah. When people tell me that they've like exited relationships or completely like redefined things, I say congratulations.
Absolutely.
Because so many people are afraid to fail or talk about their troubles, that
Mhm.
when you do, I think they should be celebrated, because nobody wants to live a miserable life. Like, we
No.
want you to thrive and be happy in everything you do, especially your relationship. Um, so congratulations on
Thank you.
waking up that one day and just looking in the mirror and being like, hey, I want something new, something better. So
Yeah. I think every relationship, whether it's a romantic relationship, life partner relationship, friendship, work, whatever it is, they all have something to teach us. We all have something to learn from it and grow from it. And sometimes you can learn and grow in that relationship and become a better human being. And sometimes those relationships give us these tidbits that we have to learn and then we have to let it go. It's that reason, season, lifetime. Why
yeah,
is somebody in your life? Are they in here for just a reason? There's a specific thing to learn, or is it a season, a longer amount of time which is typically where a lot of relationships, I'm not saying marriages, I'm saying a lot of our relationships,
right.
friendships, office work, can be your life partners kind of thing. And then there's the lifetime where they're with you through thick and thin. They're the person that you would call if you needed to move a dead body. They're the person that you can count on absolutely no matter what. So why are they in your life? And if that is coming to an end, then looking back on it with gratitude and saying, I learned this and I'm so grateful that I learned that. And gosh, it was a really hard lesson. And yet
Yeah,
look at where I can go from here. I think it's hugely important for every one of us in our relationships, because that means that we get to enjoy it while we're in it and just bask in that moment. And then when it's no longer serving us and it's become more of a burden than a gift, then it's easier to say, I'm ready to move on.
yeah. I say the two best things you can do in any relationship is be present and be honest. Be present
Yeah.
and enjoy every moment that you're in. Be honest that at the end of it, what part did you play? Because
Hmm.
it's really easy to dump the blame on somebody else, but like, let's be
Hmm.
honest, it was
Yeah.
50-50. There was a part, you played some part in either attempting to save it, not attempting to save it, or deciding to walk away. So what part did you play?
Yeah. Yeah. What was your contribution? Yeah.
Oh man, see, I knew this was going to be a good one. I love when people are just in the same space as me. It just makes
Uh-huh.
things roll off the tongue, um so to speak. What was I
Hmm.
gonna say? So no, I was gonna like, so my first question was gonna be, what made you want to like start holding people accountable, but you kind of just read that right out of my mind, so I didn't have to go there. So I was like,
well,
okay, what was my second thought?
well, that's really what made me start to take accountability for myself and recognize that there was a shift, there was change that needed to be made, there was ownership that needed to be happen there. But I didn't really think that I was going to be teaching other people how to do that. I really didn't think that that was my calling. I recognized that that was my responsibility to do so that I could be a kinder, gentler, more compassionate being. It wasn't until I was in massage therapy school that people would come to me and say, I don't know why, but I feel like there's something you have to teach me. I feel like I could learn something from you. Will you teach me? So then I started teaching them my tools for processing, for healing, for working through stuff. And it was just a friend. So I wasn't charging. It was,
Right.
hey, sure, I'll give it a shot. I don't really know what I'm
No.
doing, but
Mhm.
I'm happy to pass that information along. And my husband says that I started helping people who had lost their voice to find it.
Mm.
So I was working with a lot of women who had dealt with um, a much stronger partner and they had squashed themselves and lost the ability to speak up and say, I really don't like this or I really don't like that. And from there, it just grew. And I found myself working with even more women. And yet I found myself working honestly with more people in LGBTQ plus and people
Yeah.
who were just like, no, 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 I don't feel like I had a voice because I've always been hiding from what is my truth and I can't share it with people because I'm afraid. So helping people in that way. And then it just morphed into this owning your reality, owning your truth, owning what's here right now, accepting that the past has fed into that. So it all kind of, it started with me owning mine and then it morphed into helping other people recognize the same thing. And it was simply because they had recognized that I had already done it. So, not an intentional shift.
Right.
And yet, I'm very grateful for the shift because it's been a beautiful journey.
Well, people always say that they notice parts of themselves in others. So I could totally see how people would gravitate towards you, who are feeling that, because they probably sense that you've had a similar journey to them, or that something that they felt like they've been lacking or like yearning for, you possessed.
Thank you.
This, I mean, that's a powerful thing right there. Um, because not everybody has a welcoming enough energy that people would even approach them. So the fact that you innately have that, and it's helped so many people, like just like a huge shout out for that. Yes.
Thank you.
So when you're working with people, what's kind of like the first step that you have them, or that you like have for like quote unquote owning your shit? Like what's the first thing that you think most people need to do?
The first thing that I do with every one of my clients, the very first thing is I believe we need to find the patterns that are blocking us, the patterns that are holding us back. And these are patterns that we started when we were very young kids. We are totally unaware of them. They are subconscious patterns. So I help my clients find their top 3 patterns that are blocking them, holding them
Mhm.
back. And we do it through guided meditation, and we have a fire ceremony, and it's absolutely beautiful. And yet, through this process that we do, it takes like 5 hours. You are with me for a day. We get to hang
Yeah.
out for a day and just shift some stuff together. And it's absolutely beautiful because in this process, you learn that you have power. You learn that what happened and was painful and challenging can totally be shifted in something beautiful and a gift that you can now use positively moving forward. So, the first thing I do with every one of my clients is this mandala ceremony so that they can shift that. The beauty in that is how it automatically teaches the self ownership in the same session, in that same day. And they get to take that home, they get to work with that, and they
Mhm.
can shift things throughout life. Like this is now a tool in their tool belt that they can use anytime they see another pattern that comes up that's, oh, I don't really like that one. Let's shift it. It's really cool.
Yeah. And that's a lot of that's something that not everybody realizes about teaching or coaching, is they just assume everything's meant forever. And what I mean by that is that like they'll have to like keep coming back and back and back. But I was like, no, as a teacher, we want to just give you the tools, that way when I'm not present, you can still notice and address things that are coming up in your life, or that you're not dependent on me for change, on
Yeah.
us for change. Yeah.
Yeah. My goal, and I think that it's a goal of a lot of other teachers, I want to teach you so that you grow out of me. I want you to graduate. You know, every teacher wants to see their with cap and gown and move on. I
Yeah.
want you to graduate from my work. You may come back later and say, hey, I would love to do a ceremony about this or about that. Can we please just get together? Or I'm stuck here. Can you take me through a guided meditation? Absolutely. And I'm honored to do that. And yet, I really hope that you take all these tools, you put them in the toolbox, and you are so confident and so able by the time that we're done working together. You're just out of the nest and living a fantastic life.
Right. That's beautiful. Um, so journaling is a huge part of kind of like what you do. You have a lot of your people do that. What about journaling do you think helps really help people embody your teachings?
Yeah. So the thing about journaling is it really helps you move things and process them. And I understand that not everybody is a journaler. And journaling looks different for every human being. So some people may have long, sprawling stories, and other people may have bullet points, and other people may not even want to journal. They just might want to sit and think through because journaling is not something they do. However, it works for you. I really don't have a preference. All I want you to do is think about it. I want you to pause and say, where do I fit and how do I feel? The thing about journaling, and I'm saying that in air quotes because remember, it takes on so many different forms,
Right.
is that it helps you process, it helps you get it out, it helps you move, it helps you understand why something is the way it is, what you can do about it, how you can change it and shift it. Until you've thought about some of these things, until you've understood where your personal beliefs and morals and understandings come from, it's it it's like you're driving without any kind of rules. You have to understand why you think a certain way. What is the why behind the what? What is the why behind the way that you're reacting and the way that you feel about it? Because there's probably an experience back there that says, oh, yeah,
Yeah, this is it.
yeah, I'm reacting that way because I'm afraid of abandonment because of this, or
Right.
because, yeah. So journaling helps you understand yourself better in a gentler way so that you can process that and move forward and say, okay, I want it to be different in the future. Or
Right.
I'm just going to embrace that part and say, yeah, this is me. So I'm going to give myself compassion in that and hope that anybody else that I work with, talk with, see can do the same thing.
That's an even better mentality to have.
Yeah.
Uh, I'm just starting to get into is we always think that we have to change, or like change like has to happen. And that's not the case. Like you said, sometimes it's just embracing who you are. You know, we never want to change or compromise who we are as people for others. So that, like you said, I feel like that starts with being able to take even your blemishes and be like, hey, this is me. You
Yeah.
know, it's a scar that like I had emotionally or physically in my life that is just going to be with me for my life. And
Yeah.
hopefully you can accept that and keep going on this journey with me.
Yeah. And maybe that's not a scar. Maybe it's actually a beautiful tattoo.
Listen, I mean, tattoos are just expensive and intentional scars. I have several, so like I'm here for it. My
I know.
favorite, listen, my favorite
I,
character in The Lion King was Scar. I like, so fun story. My first
yeah.
tattoo, I was actually going to get like the little scar
Yeah.
like tattooed on me.
Really?
and then my artist looked at me because he was a friend, and he was like, "No, I refuse." He was like, he literally handed me the cash back. He was like, "I refuse to do that to you." He was like, "Come back with something that you thought a little bit more about." So I came back a week later, and I got my first tattoo.
And
So
what'd you get instead?
I got a block O. Since my family goes to Ohio State, I'm third generation, and then
Okay.
I had just gotten into the school, and I was like, my first tattoo, new chapter, new beginning. Let's get it done.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't
I
regret
have,
it.
go ahead.
I know I'm glad he stopped me that initial time. It actually made me think.
Yeah. I used to tell my kids that because they were always, Mom, I want a tattoo. I want a tattoo. It's the coolest thing. And, they're 15, 16 years old. And I kept saying, you can absolutely get a tattoo when you're old enough and you like when you're out of the house
Mhm.
and when you've really thought about it. I would encourage you to have a story behind why you got that tattoo. And in the meantime, every act every bike accident, every crash on your skateboard, every scar that happens on your body just gets to be this fantastic tattoo. And you have this wild story about why you have this nasty tattoo or why you have the other one over there. Cause that's all scars are. It's a permanent mark on your
Right.
body. And they were like, ugh, Mom. Now one does not, but he's asked me if I would get one with him. The
Mhm.
other one has a lot, and I have one as well. So I'm like, tattoos are beautiful. They're fantastic. It's
They
just
are.
yeah, what is the meaning behind that for you? And I love hearing those stories and understanding why that means so much to the person that's, yeah.
I do, and it's funny because people are pretty one way or the other about tattoos. Either they're like totally for them or like totally against them.
Uh-huh.
And my mom, earlier this year, I didn't even ask her or prompt her. She volunteered. She called me one day. She's like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "Nothing. Just got off work." She was like, "Hey, do you want to get a tattoo with me?" I was like, "That's exactly the face I made." I was like, I was like, yeah, of course. I was like, what do you want to do? I was like, I'll come back to the city right now. I would go down to Cincinnati and get it. She's like, no, 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 not right now. We have to think about it. But I just wanted to know if you would even consider getting it with me. I was like, of course.
Yeah.
So we just decided that the bedtime story she read me as a kid, we're gonna get a line from that um,
That's
tattooed together.
that is so sweet.
I know.
I
And
love it. Oh,
I was like, you know what, mom? I was like, I'm not gonna admit this, but I guess I'm admitting it now. I was like, you're gonna make me cry right now. So I was like, when we get this done, I was like, I might tear up, not because of the pain, but because I was like, mom, you like she was so anti-tattoo growing up for me or anybody else, and she didn't believe I'd get my first one. That's the only reason she said it was okay for me to do it. And so I came home, and she looked like she had just saw a ghost when she saw it.
yeah.
And so for her to go from that to let's get one together, I thought was just amazing.
I think that's absolutely beautiful because it's just another manifestation and another connection. It says, I love you so much. I really want to be connected even further. And I want to constantly be reminded of how connected and loving and supportive of each other we are.
Mhm.
I think it's so wonderful that you have that relationship with your mom and that you are so close. That is so beautiful. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
thank you. I was like, and it really does. I think so. Like almost half the tattoos I have, I've gotten with another person, a group of people, whether it's my siblings or like close friends. And like I said, it really does. It's a testament to our bond. So,
Yeah.
um, for anybody thinking about getting a tattoo, like I'm not going to say pull the trigger, like think about it, be intentional, then pull the trigger. Because it does, it can be a beautiful story for you. And it's just another way to deepen a bond, a connection that you might have with somebody else. So
Yeah.
go
Yeah.
tattoos. We're
Who would
not
have
paid
thought we'd
by.
be on this kind of a topic? This is fantastic. I love
Um,
it.
honestly, I do. Like this is the Josh effect. No matter what happens, we will find some way to find a tangent and go there.
I love it. This is great. I love it.
Oh no. Okay. Let me see how I can get back in this.
No, you
Oh,
don't
oh
have
my
to.
God. That's how journaling. So no, that's how it started for me. I start like when I was like about 15, same age as your son. I was given a notebook, and my mom was like, or I forget who gave it to me, but they're like, if you're gonna get a tattoo, you should start journaling so you know what you want. Be intentional.
Yeah.
Because I just grew up around a lot of tattoo artists, and they're like, we do some crazy stuff, so we don't want you to be that person. Like, actually get something on you that you care about, and that you'll
Yeah.
be okay with like 10 years,
Uh-huh.
or if you wake up from like a drunken night. And I was like, okay, that sounds fair. So I just keep adding to my journal, and then when that filled up, Pinterest came about. So now I have a huge Pinterest board of like tattoos I want to get.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's so many ideas. I got a couple boiling.
I say it's my healthiest addiction that I have.
Yeah. Yeah.
May not
It's
be
a
the
good one.
cheapest, but it's the healthiest.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know what? That actually brings me back to another point I wanted to make about journaling. You were asking me about how it's such an integral part of what I do and how I encourage people to understand themselves, which you're understanding what you want and whatnot through your journaling and figuring out how do I want to move forward and which tattoo do I want.
Mhm.
A lot of people think journaling has to be this everyday kind of thing. And what the heck am I going to write about? And how am I going to process? Like, what do I even want to do? And
Right.
I tell them that there actually has to be a purpose behind your journaling. And that purpose means that it may be a short term or a long term kind of thing. So you may have a journal that you do for a really long time and it's mulling over what meanings and what feelings do you have and when will it end? And you're like, oh, well, it's going to end in this tattoo because that's what I've journaled on. Or you may have another one that's to your nieces and nephews or to your unborn grandchildren that you want them to know what's there, or like there's just their purposes and in intentions behind what you journal. And when you put that parameter around it and acknowledge that this is for a purpose, this is for a time, then
Mhm.
you don't feel like crap when you stop journaling. because it has ended its usefulness and now you can move on to the next thing. And it may be years between then and when you pick up another journal, and yet you had the journaling so that you could help through whatever, ABC was going on in that moment. So that intention and reason that you have a journal is just as important as the journal itself.
It's always, I think it's funny. It's the most obvious things that blow people away the most. And that was one of those obvious things is intention. If you're not really, like you said, if you're just journaling aimlessly, there really won't be a change because you don't know what you're looking for, or you don't know what form of catharsis you're trying to exercise.
Yeah.
So they said having intention, knowing why you're journaling, makes a huge difference. Like what I have my clients do when they wake up every day between like our Zoom calls. I was like, hey, I'd like you to at least try to get within this week 3 journals. And just when you wake up in the morning, before you touch your phone, just like take some time to yourself. And then just, if there's anything weighing on your mind, I don't care what it is, just anything that you have on your mind, write it down. Because for me, it teaches me to like focus and really check in with myself.
Yeah.
And it also helps me decrease my dependency on the cell phone or that, all the technology that we use throughout the day. And I think it's just a smoother transition than to go from like, just like, I feel like once you pick your phone up for the day, your mind just instantly starts to go. What do I have next? All right, what do I have to do with it? But like, just take this 5-10 minutes, just be present. And like, what are you thinking? What are you feeling? Like, what are your goals for the day? What did you dream about? So many people forget their dreams. Just any of that, just write it down. I don't care. And then let's talk about it. Like why, like, so like I said, intention, you're right. It's crucial.
Yeah. Putting a reason behind those words. Yeah. I love a slow, easy morning.
I don't know when I came to realize this. Maybe it's when I switched to like first shift, but I was like, the day goes by really quickly. And we always say there's never enough hours, but there really aren't enough hours or times in the day where we're given breaks.
Yeah.
So forcing yourself to take a pause is, I don't know. Even just thinking about the pause right there relaxed my body.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
It's those pauses that are actually intentional self-care. If you put an intent, like if you are conscious about that pause and you say, no, I'm going to take a break right now, adding the intention to that pause of I'm going to take a break, we push ourselves so hard. We are constantly running ourselves into the ground and struggling. And we keep thinking, well, I can't take a break. I can't take a break. I need to be productive. I need to achieve. I need to get this stuff done. And what we fail to remember, what we fail to realize is the fact that if you took a pause, you would be more productive after the pause. Your mind and body need that break. And it's literal self-care. It is saying, I'm going to put myself ahead of everyone else for just a minute. I'm going to put an intention behind that so that I can relax and enjoy the pause instead of berating myself for taking a break. And afterwards, it's so much better. I took a 25-minute nap today so that I could be on later.
Listen.
And that break is, it's so important, and people forget to do that. They forget to gift themselves with that moment of, okay.
Yeah. I can't disagree with that. I can only agree. Taking time for you does nothing but make you better. Anybody who tells you otherwise, I'm just going to call them a fibber. I said it there. That's
They're
right.
Selling snake oil.
That's right. You're a con man working for big therapy, trying to, I don't know.
Yeah. You are not for me. Sorry. You're not in my friend group.
Exactly. You don't go here. No, but another reason I love accountability and the fact that you're helping people like own their shit is the fact that, like I said earlier, sometimes it's super easy to paint a narrative where we feel like we're either the victim or that we did nothing wrong, so we don't. There's no need or room for us to improve or change
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
So like I just like the narrative that's so interesting. I don't know if you've ever worked with somebody who has that mindset of just like there are a lot of things that have happened to me, or like they play such a passive part of their own life.
Yeah.
um
Yeah.
have you
I've
experienced
had
that?
I've had a few of those, but the thing is that using that as my catchphrase, saying that I am excited about working with people automatically weeds people out, because the fact of the matter is everyone will say, oh yeah, you're right, everybody needs to own their shit, and they've got the finger wag and the
Mm-hmm.
head nod and all
Yeah.
that stuff, and yet they're pointing their finger at other people and refusing to say, I need to own mine, I recognize mine. So yes, I have had some people come to me and say, will you work with me? And they are in that victim mindset where everything is happening to me and I don't want to blah, 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 blah. And they're really just, they just want somebody to empathize with them and
Right.
agree that, oh, you've had such a hard life.
It's not for I'm not
No,
for you, is what I'll
that
say.
exactly. I'm not for you. And I find that out in the first meeting, or I find like if we do a 15-minute phone call or a 30-minute phone call just to chit chat and see where they're at and if we really want to move forward, or if they get so far as to coming to the mandala ceremony and we're in that mandala ceremony and they're putting up blocks and I know that it won't progress to another meeting. I know that it won't really progress to more, but at least I've planted that seed, because there are
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people out there that would rather sit in that space than own the amazing opportunity that's before them. It's hard to do. It is not easy, and stuff is going to keep coming up. It's like the layers, it's like the layers of the onion. You're going to deal with one thing and then you're going to deal with another thing, and it's going to uncover more. And are you really ready to deal with that journey and acknowledge your part in how you became here into
Right.
this space?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there are plenty of people that don't want that. They are not ready to deal with it. So, and the
Um,
ones who do, it's unbelievably beautiful and gorgeous to see that light go off and that understanding open up and the empowerment that comes from it. And they say, wait, this is mind blowing to be able to stop and say, I have the power and I can totally shift this and I can
right.
start communicating and I can start advocating for myself and I can shift the whole thing. And to watch that, that is the gift that I love seeing as a teacher, that I love witnessing as they shift from one space to the next and everything just changes.
I I agree. So I like to think of myself and the people I work with, or just the people I know, everybody as a seed. I was like, we've all started, like we've been planted, and
Yeah.
just it's interesting to see how we grow, what we turn into, the different little characteristics. We could be the same type of plant,
Yeah.
but just to see how like I might have grown an extra limb, or like you have this weird little like patch in you.
Yeah.
Those differences that make us who we
Uh-huh.
are amazing. um and like you said, just to see how the seed that you plant in somebody, excuse me, starts to sprout
Yeah.
and develop and doesn't need as much nurturing or tending to.
Yeah.
It's all I ask. Like people think we like I had times like don't get me wrong, like I enjoy getting paid, like we all have to make a living, but the real payment I get is the emotional payment of seeing
Yeah.
the effect I have on somebody else.
Yeah.
And I realized that years ago when I was a camp counselor, to have like some of my kids come back to me now, seeing them all grown up, going to like finishing high school and get college, and they're just like, I was able to do X, Y, or Z because you were there for me. And I
Yeah.
was like, I mean, I guess that's what being a parent's like. I'm not there yet, but like just having like a mini you run around, or just like being able to like help mold somebody.
Yeah.
One of the greatest joys I get to experience.
Amen to that. I love
Um,
it.
but sometimes I feel like even if my clients are going through the motions and they're really, I see them trying, I feel like
Yeah.
sometimes there's something's just off, like they're a little misaligned.
Mhm.
Um, do you kind of know what I'm talking about? Where it's like you see them, you see the engine, the gears turning in there, but it's just not quite clicking, that match isn't striking no matter how many
Uh-huh.
times you swipe it.
Yeah. Yeah. You typically have to find out there's something else that's blocking that moment. There's something else that's blocking that cleansing or that healing or that aha moment. So you have to figure out what the other thing is that's blocking them, because sometimes we're not ready for whatever shift is coming. It's too big and we might need
Mm-hmm.
to kind of pull away a little
Inch
bit.
into
It's
it.
like,
Okay.
yeah, eating an elephant one bite at a time, you can't, you look at the whole thing and it's going to be overwhelming, and people often shut down because they've been doing great and they feel great and they're improving and they see the steps and they're owning themselves and they're recognizing, and then all of a sudden one thing will come up, and this might be something that really blocked them in the past. And while you've been taking care of all of these other little things, there's this big one that's so big that it might be traumatizing. It might be way too overwhelming, and they just might need a little bit of time, sometimes stepping away from it and saying, let's just take a break for a little while.
Right.
And when you're ready to come back, then let's dive back into it, because pushing it's not going to help. Forcing it isn't going to help. And
Right.
honestly, in my experience, forcing it can cause more
Make
damage,
it worse. Yep.
yeah, than the healing that can occur. And so stepping back and letting them breathe and do it. In fact, story time, I just recently did this. I recently experienced this personally for myself. I had been dealing with something, because it's a journey. I'm a teacher, but I'm also a student of life. I'm still taking it all in. And I had known that this was a little thing that I was dealing with. And I kept reminding myself, you don't have to push so hard. I had this deep seated belief in my subconscious that if you're not working unbelievably hard and grinding yourself in the ground, that it is not worth it. It is of no value. The only way for your offering in life, your legacy to be of value, is if you are working yourself into the ground,
Mm.
pushing too hard. And I had recognized this as something that I needed to deal with. And the universe brought it to me back in December of last year and said, hey, girl, you're going into the ground. Your employees are going to the ground. Everybody is just pushing so hard. And it feels like you're swimming against the, against the currents. You're going upstream instead of
Yeah.
just allowing. So you need to step back and take a breath, because that's not the way this needs to be. And I was like, yeah, fine. So I talked to my group. We decided, okay, we will slow down. We will allow instead of pushing. Well, we were in the process of doing that. And I thought, yes, I'm doing so good. This is
Mm-hmm.
so great. And then I had a guest on my podcast, and she opened my Akashic records. And uh, what I thought that I was dealing with, she cut to the core and she ripped me open. And I was like, I was a mess for a little while,
Yeah.
because while I was nibbling at the edges and I was working at it, I really wasn't willing to look at the core of it. And where is that seed? Where do all of those roots of that weed go? How
Yeah.
many areas of my life is this really touching? I had not been ready or willing to go all the way down and see the root of it so that I could pull it out. I was ready to play with it and flirt with it on the edge, but not really fully remove it. And it wasn't until she called me out and she said, hey, here you go on a silver platter. Good luck with that one. That I finally was, okay, I have to deal with this. I need to heal it. And I guess now I'm ready, because the universe has been working on me for the last 6 months
Right.
to get me ready to do that. So even personally, there are things that you and I well, I shouldn't say you and I, because I don't know for your experience, but there are things that even as teachers, they are huge, they are bigger, they are absolutely core values and experiences that we haven't been ready to deal with. And yet they'll come around.
100%. I
Yeah.
tell people, we talked about this maybe like a week or two ago with one of my guests, is speaking of seasons, I use the analogy of like software updates.
Uh-huh.
I was like, you may catch somebody at version 2 or 3.0, but you're
Mhm.
still on version 1.2, you know? That's not to say that this person's only meant to stick around for a season. I was like, maybe they're just waiting for you to update before you really can match strides with each other. Or, you
Yeah.
know, or even though they may be on a more updated version, that doesn't necessarily mean they're where you are. Maybe they're still trying to catch up. We all have work to do at different paces and different increments.
Yeah.
So being able to, like I said, just take that time and really look intrinsically at ourselves and be
Mhm.
like, I I know where I'm at, and I can and appreciate where you are.
Yeah.
Let me meet you there.
Uh-huh.
I'm not going to
Absolutely.
come along with you, but let me meet you there. We'll drive separately. Like I'll look out the
Yeah.
window and I'll see you, but like I'm going to keep on my journey, because that's
Yeah.
what some people trip up when they hear meet your partner, meet the person where they're at. They want to
Yeah.
go there, and I was like, no, 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 no. Because that's their journey. Okay, we don't want
Yeah.
to add any weight to
Mhm.
them. Let's stay on our journey and just just we'll drive by, do a nice little wave or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the same aspect, like you're bringing up all these other things. My brain is going down rabbit holes while you're talking. I'm like, um, like one person may be further ahead in their spiritual being and how they feel in their spiritual being, and somebody else is more ahead in their mental thoughts and their ability to control the negativity that's there. And somebody else might be further ahead in their emotional. And I mean, it's like the vision I just got was one of those control boards for music and sound and
Oh
lights
yeah.
and whatnot. And they
Hmm.
have all the sliders. And so each person has different sliders that are ahead and behind. And so it really doesn't mean that anybody is ahead of anybody, because there are so
Right.
many different sliders that we're paying attention to, that we're all just existing. And meeting somebody where they're at on the sliding board just means that you accept them for who they are
You're right.
regardless. So yeah, I'm going to drive my slider board and you're going to drive your slider board, and we're just
Hmm.
going to nod and say, hey, we can exist together and we can support
Exactly.
each other. And maybe something I've got can help one of your lower sliders just come up. Maybe hanging out with me gives you a little boost of energy and you feel better, or maybe hanging out with you makes me a little bit more calmer and able to relax and meditate, or maybe hanging out with you gets me into sports and physical expression in life. And so, yeah, letting each other be exactly where they're at and saying, I absolutely like you for you. Let's drive our own boards. Let's just be in each other's orbits.
That's all this game of life is. It's
Mhm.
just existing, coexisting with
Yeah.
those around us.
Mhm.
But speaking of getting to know us and accepting people for who they are, I think
Mhm.
this kind of moves us into my favorite part of the show. And that's like the reverse icebreaker, the quickie question section. And it's where we get to really know who you are and just
Uh-huh.
appreciate it,
Okay.
you know?
Yeah.
Now, the reason this is my favorite part of the show is because it's just a couple of quick questions, but they get a little more thought provoking as we ascend the stairs.
Mhm.
Um, and I just like to get to know people.
Yeah.
I'm more of a meat and potato guy. So not a lot here surface level. So hope you're ready for that.
Let's go for it.
All righty. First question. This one should be a gimme, like out of the ballpark. You should be able to nail this one. Are you currently partnered or unpartnered?
I'm currently partnered.
There we go. Okay. All right. It's like you're writing your name on the SAT. It's like
Right.
400 points off the bat.
Actually, recently I had to fill my name in an online form so that I could do something, and I spelled it wrong 3 times.
Oh,
So those things that we think are easy. It's like I've had this name for 40 plus years. Why can't I spell it?
No, it's
Anyway,
like when you write it enough, it starts to look weird and
uh,
then you question a word. Yeah, no, it's a
yeah.
thing.
So, yep, I'm there.
Um, since you have a partner, when you guys, if you could go back to the early days, were there any things that you thought that you would have trouble adjusting to with them when you first started seeing each other?
So I did not learn how to communicate. My parents were vocal and didn't really know how to communicate with each other. They thought the louder they got, the better that they could express themselves. So I learned how to do that. And my husband was the same way. He was a very verbal person. And that meant that when I got into this relationship, actually communicating in a healthy manner was not something that I was able to embody. So I was really nervous about just in general, how is life going to go? And
Mhm.
the very first argument that we had, and I say that with air quotes argument, was he wanted me to do something and I
Yeah.
was doing my own thing. And he finally looked at me and said, I'm getting really upset. And it was the calmest voice ever. I'm getting really upset with this. So I'm going to take a break. I'll see you later. And he left. And that was the first time that I realized that, wait a minute, I don't have to let my emotions control me and the words that are coming out of my mouth. I can stop and say, I'm a little upset. So I'm going to take a break.
Yeah.
So communication was absolutely this unbelievable, it was huge growth and a beautiful gift in how to shift a relationship and find a deeper connection and respect for each other.
Well, good. Let's flip that coin, so to speak.
Mhm.
What was a green flag that you noticed in the relationship?
A
Like
green
what?
flag.
Like something that you saw, you're like, you know what? Brownie points. Like, I'm definitely keeping note of this.
Well, so I'm a storyteller. You're just going to get stories.
Listen.
Um, I had two kids. So I was a divorcee with two kids that were 12 and 13. And those kids were trying to navigate life and very, very frustrated and very upset and struggling with life. And there was this one moment where I was trying to work with my oldest, and my husband now was at the
Mhm.
house. I'm sitting on the couch, and my son and I were upstairs. And my son looked at him and said, "Get out of my house." And my husband, my husband, who was just a friend,
Yeah.
boyfriend at the time, looked at him and said, "You know what? I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. So I guess we have to figure that out." And at that moment, to have somebody so calmly say, "This may be a tornado, this may be an unbelievable storm, but I love your mom and I care about you enough to say I'm going to stay." That was the green light. That
Um,
was the, okay, things might be okay. Because as a single mom with two kids, it's really scary to try to bring somebody into your life, into your children's life. And are they going to be kind to your kids? Are things going to mesh? Are things going to be okay? And so for
right.
him to react to that anger and upset in such a manner, recognizing everything that was going on, that was my green light. That was my, okay, I think this can work.
I mean, that really is a tough time for especially boys, young adolescent boys, um, trying to really find their voice and where they fit in, especially being raised by a single mom, like I was. I I loved my mom to death. I still love her to death. But there are just certain things that you feel like at times they're not the right people to deliver certain messages.
Yeah.
So you lash out because it's like not what you fantasized or idealized in your head.
Mm.
And for him to have taken that approach, which is I think I've had a similar conversation with somebody before, just shows not just you but your sons as well that there can be a point of consistency, And there
Yeah.
can be that one thing to focus on in the tornado so you don't get dizzy and feel like you're out of control. So,
Yeah.
I mean, shoot, that's a green flag for me. I might take him off your hands. No.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you could go back in time and tell your younger self something about relationships, what would that be?
Oh, wow. Mm. Checking in. Um, I think that I would let her know that relationships are unique and that they are not what you see.
Mm.
Because the people around us display what they want you to see. You think that somebody has a perfect relationship, but behind closed doors, it's a mess. So I think I would tell my younger self, hey, it's okay. A relationship is going to be what you make of it. Don't idealize other people. Learn how to communicate and recognize that yours will be unique to you. Don't aspire to somebody else's. Find what works for you and what uplifts you, and you can uplift the other partner and really work together.
Okay. This is a new question I'm trying out today. So
Mhm.
hopefully you have as much fun with it as I will. If you had to label your love life as a reality show, what would it be called?
Oh gosh. That's when I would need to think on my love life. Um I
Oh, you have one. You have one. It's on the tip of your tongue. I can hear it. Come on, just
well
give it
I
to us.
well I have one, but it's I mean it's not all encompassing because at times it's like um young and restless, and at other times it's calm, cool, and collected, and at other times I think it's just like um spring break. So
Well, I mean, yeah,
you know,
but
yeah.
there are very few times in life where there's always a perfect word,
Hmm.
and it changes like it does. It evolves. It progresses.
Yeah.
So in this current season, where are we at? Are we young and reckless? Are we on spring break? Like we're just calm, cool, and collective.
I think we're calm, cool, collective right now.
All right,
We're
I like
just,
that.
yeah, with the flow.
Okay, I'd
Yeah.
watch that. No, and
And
then
I'm blushing right now. You got me. Whoa.
I'm kind of good at my job, just a little bit. And
Yeah.
then the last question I have for you: what's one thing that you think you can improve on as a partner?
Oh. Ah.
I told you I was gonna make you think. I told
I
her, y'all.
know. I know. And it's absolutely beautiful and I love it. In this season, I mean, that changes, right? Because it
Mm-hmm.
depends on what season we're in and where we're at. And um, two things come to mind. The first one is balance in like taking care of myself and nurturing the relationship. And the other one is being a better nurse. my my husband has an issue going on with his foot. We don't really know what's happening, and
Mm-hmm.
like being a nurse, I wasn't really nursed as a kid,
Yeah.
and so I don't know how to be a nurse. So I'm like, okay, you need water, great, I got water. Anything else? Like, I'm not the most patient nurse, so I think being more nurturing in that aspect. I mean, I'm nurturing in a lot of other ones, but
Mm-hmm.
being nurturing in that aspect, I'm sure is one of them. And then just balance in me and us.
Okay. Well, that's good. Krystal, thank you for being a part and joining the Not So Bad family. Listen. I, I say this. I was like, we're not great. We have our moments, just like
Yeah.
everybody else.
Uh-huh.
But overall, we're not so bad. We're kind of fun. We're decent.
I think you're pretty cool.
Thanks. I might make that on like a mug somewhere, uh, or a koozie. Who knows? No, but let us know, where can we find you if we need to start owning our shit, but we're having a little trouble, or we just want to just check in on your cool, calm, cool, and collective like life.
Right. So I have so many different ways that you guys can connect with me because I believe that we're all at different stages in life and some of us are ready to take huge leaps and some of us just need little steps. So I have a weekly newsletter. You can go to krystaljakosky.com and sign up for the weekly newsletter, which gives you free meditations and journaling prompts every single week.
Nice.
If you're ready for a little bit bigger step, I have an it's called Intro to You, and it's an online course with guided meditations and journaling prompts that literally introduce you to yourself, your spiritual body, your mental body, physical body, and emotional body. It lets you start owning your shit and get in tune with very basic foundations, and it's beautiful, and you can get that through my website as well. I'm also on Instagram and Facebook under Krystal Jakosky, and I really love connecting with people. If you want to go all the way and you want to have the whole mandala ceremony, get your butts over here and let's do it, because life is just too precious to waste time not enjoying what's out there.
Yeah. Also, I forgot to ask this. Where is over here? Like, where are you located on this round rock that we're floating on?
I am outside of Boulder, Colorado.
Okay.
So north of Denver, Rocky Mountains. Yeah.
That I feel like that's what I would name my love life at most times, like 98% of the time.
Rocky Mountains.
Yes. Because it is a climb.
Oh yeah.
And it's not smooth.
No. And you can get high on it every now and then. You know, the whole true. Rocky Mountain high thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's some beautiful peaks. Just letting you know.
And oh my, peaks are fabulous.
Right. So we're valleys though. Let's appreciate both.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
The highs and the lows.
I'll take them both.
All right.
Joshua.
Yes.
Just one little extra thing. I would love to just offer your listeners 10% off on my online course. Just use the code not so bad.
Listen, guys, this is like another reason why I like Krystal, okay? Because not only has she embraced us for who we are as these semi-raging dumpster fires, she's like, she's offering a hand. That's an olive branch. So definitely mosey on over, click, type like on your phone, and everything can get you to her website. Go on over there, check that out if you feel like you're ready. Like I said, don't feel rushed, but if you're ready to start taking that first step, head on over there. Don't forget, use code not so bad. Not so bad. And let's get you started. All right. Yeah. Today can be your day one. All right.
Absolutely.
All right, guys, it's been a pleasure. Thanks for tuning into another episode of the Not So Bad Bachelor Pad. I'll see all you beautiful people next week. Krystal, thank you so much. So much for just being patient with me and having an amazing journey with me today. Also, shout out to Avery in the back for being the tech guru you are and helping both of us to get here.
I will let her know. This has been absolutely delightful. It has been so just free and easy. I love how we just went all over the board and we didn't even care. It just got to be fun and enjoyable. So thank you.
Listen, I like to say that the destination is where we end up. Okay. We had a map, and the map was to explore, to wander. And that's what we did. So we stayed on track.
To take some back roads, which are beautiful.
That's right. All right. Well, like I said, I know you have to go, so I want to be respectful of your time. Like I said, you have a friend for life now. Anytime you need me, I'm just one DM or an email away. Don't hesitate to reach out. Also, I usually try a couple days in advance to shoot you an email or a message to let you know what week this will come out.
Okay.
And then I'll send you the promo cards that I make for the episode as well.
Yeah. So how far out are you recording right now? Like August? July?
Me and my brain keep saying we're going to take a break, but then I keep meeting all these amazing people. And it's like, guys, we really need to take a break so right now, because that's what I was doing. I was transferring files over. I have 19 files that I just transferred over today that I have to turn into content.
Yeah. So we actually turn off our Podmatch profile.
I should do that. I'm really bad. Like I just feel bad. I was like, but you never know the opportunity that like you'll find. And
You
so like I
thing it,
have to be there.
no, I promise you. Okay. You got to put yourself first a little bit. You got to
Mhm.
recognize that you need that break. So you turn off your pod match profile. Those same people are still going to be matching with you when you turn the profile back on.
You're right. I am getting better at it. I have told people like if I do just happen to be on there, it's like, hey, sorry,
Yeah.
I'm not booking right now. If you still would like to work with me, you'd have to wait until like our fall session in like
Yeah.
August. Cause I'm like, I'm moving. So I was like, I think I have after like 2 or 3 more weeks of recording, I'm done. And then I'm not doing any more until after I move.
Yeah. No, give yourself a break, turn it off.
Yeah. Plus, like I said, I'm learning how to make actual video content too. So I was like, that's been taking me time.
Yeah.
I've, I've, my first one was a little rough. So I was like, I
That's
need to spend a
okay.
little more time working on this. Yeah.
Yeah. You're learning. No, you're
Yeah.
fantastic. And I love it. I love where you're going. And like I said before, my hat's off to you as a nurse practitioner and everything you're doing with this and with clients and with, yeah, you're great. You're amazing. You've got this.
Thank you. Thank you. I needed that little boost, this will carry me through the week. Thank you. It was hump day, really. I was almost at the top of the hump. You pushed me there. I'm there now.
Woot.
I'm on solid
Right
ground.
over. Now you
Yeah.
just got to put your hands in the air and like scream as you go down with the roller coaster. Yeah.
Oh
Got
yeah.
it.
I'm really good at that part.
Good. All
All right.
right.
I will
I'm
see
gonna
you
have,
later.
yeah,
Oh,
I'm gonna have stop recording. I'm gonna have Avery send this to